I was sent on board a ship, my first promotion as chief officer. And the fun part was all the crew was Gemini. So when I went there, I tried to use my authority, new chief officer, and I remember the bosun's name was Tariq. I said, Tariq, I want to speak to you. He said, yes, chief. I said, how about we do some splicing of the rope? He said, we'll do it tomorrow. Today is cart time. There are some not so good memories also, as master on that vessel, we were doing tank cleaning. Suddenly there was a big blast noise, that came in. I went straight running and I saw that the ballast pump had completely blasted and there was water continuously coming in. I really enjoyed my time on board, I still miss it sometimes. I was living on student mode and I desperately wanted a job. One friend told me that there could be a job opening in Reliance. I applied there. I had no idea what job opening was. I just wanted a job. And it turned out that they had an opening for a pilot. The only thing that makes people move ahead, and that's my mantra always been, is to remain curious as a child.
Can you shed light on shore side opportunities in the maritime industry for the upcoming seafarers?
Yeah. There is something called seamanship we all learn. We all must learn showmanship. There are some not so good memories also, as master on that vessel.
Okay guys, welcome back to PortToPort podcast. This is another episode. You know who I am, a seasoned marine pilot, Captain Rajat. Each week I sit down with the shipping industry, trade pioneers, startup founders in maritime industry, ex-captains who have achieved something really amazing in the shipping industry. They have actually impacted the global trade. So this is your podcast, and anybody who is into shipping, guys, this is your time to learn beyond sailing, learn something which is happening around the shipping global trade, and maybe use this to enhance your skills, enhance your career, and get motivated. For anyone who is not shippy, this is your podcast to learn about how the global trade is working. So guys, today I have a very interesting personality. He has been ex-master with D'Amico Shipping, and then he did MBA from a very reputed institute from UK, Varret Institute. Sorry man, I'm not an MBA and I don't know much about the institutes, but it's like the top 25 institutes in the world. He has 12 years of commercial knowledge of shipping. He was also involved in the shipbuilding in Goa, my favorite port. I was pilot in Goa for 8 years, so I really connect with him. He has been into commercial shipping, which is another aspect of shipping, which is port disbursements, which is something new to me as well. I'm sure he will explain to all of us how it works, and he actually handles the disbursements of more than $200 million. Can you guys imagine? Like, this is huge. I'm so excited. And he is also an angel investor and a coach and a mentor. If somebody wants to get into commercial shipping, he can mentor you. And so I welcome Captain Gaurav. Thank you so much for joining today, sir.
Captain Rajat, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. And honestly, all that you've said regarding my introduction, I think going forward, my introduction would be most importantly that I was featured in your podcast. So I'm really excited to be here, and thank you so much for having me here.
Captain Gaurav, let's start from the beginning. I mean, I ask this question to everyone, but again, it's like, people want to know about you. They want to get inspired. How the idea of shipping or sailing came to your mind? Was it a family tradition, or how did you get into shipping?
I'd like to keep this podcast a very, very informal and heart-to-heart talk. And therefore, I'll not speak whatever is politically correct and what people generally want to know, but I'll tell you exactly how it happened. I come from a very humble background. From a middle-class family. My father was in State Bank of India.
Oh, my father is also retired from State Bank.
Yeah, fantastic.
Which city?
Lucknow. He retired from Lucknow.
Bareilly.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe they may know each other.
Quite likely, yeah. So, and that was the time when the time of Doordarshan, maybe color TVs were just coming in, and
Which year are you talking about?
So I'm talking of late 80s.
Late 80s.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one thing that stood out, and the people who were making careers in each colony or in each neighborhood, there would be at least one or two guys who'd been merchant navy. And one thing that stood out when they came back from ship was a big G-Shock watch,
Oh my
Nike
God.
shoes,
Tell
a
me
big
about
bag, maybe a guitar in hand, and their accent. And I always, it was, very intriguing for me to find out what are these guys doing? How can they afford something like that when I was still wearing Lakhani shoes? And that really made me, get to speak to a few of the guys. I was fortunate to have our landlord's son, he was at the time chief officer, visit Lucknow when he was off. He was sailing at the time with Great Eastern Shipping, guide me, mentor me, and tell me about shipping. And from that time, I was probably in 7th class, I knew that this is where I wanted to go. While it also panned out that I was lucky that I got selected, but this is exactly where I wanted to go. I got selected in NDA as well. I gave my engineering exam. I didn't, of course, score very well. Probably I would have got shitty rank. But this is where I wanted to be, and I'm glad I made it. But the true inspiration was those big guys, who made it out in the world, who could go far places, visit places, come back, tell us stories about ship, tell us stories about different posts that they've seen, tell us about how much they enjoy it. And probably those were times when there was a lot of shore leave. There was a lot of fun that was probably associated with shipping, It was never about money. It was about, you don't want to be, you don't want to be encapsulated in just Lucknow or just in Uttar Pradesh. You want to go out, you want to see the world. And, at that time, there was no internet, there was hardly any TV. And the only thing that you could think of America or Europe or faraway places were either from the magazines or from, some programs that are on the TV. So that really inspired me. And I think that was the start point where I thought that this is where I want to be. And I'm so glad that I could make it.
So which company did you join?
So I got through Great Eastern. Great Eastern still is one of the most elite and prestigious companies. And I'm really proud to have, done my cadetship and even served as second officer, third officer over there. So yeah, I started with Great Eastern.
Okay, so how was your first day on the ship as a cadet? Do you have some stories that you want to share?
It's been over 30 years. And when I meet my batchmates, when I meet my seniors, it's like just yesterday. Every moment is so crystal clear still in my mind. Again, while for the sake of repeating, coming from such middle-class family where generally there is very less opportunities for you even to travel by air at that time,
True.
The first thing our seniors in Great Eastern told us that you'll get to fly by air, And it so happened that I joined, I was at the time it was not Chennai, it was Madras. It was still Calcutta, not Kolkata.
Correct.
I flew to Calcutta and I was in a hotel for 8 days.
Freaking hell, that is...
8 days. While every day was a bonus, I was like very happy to, enjoy the hospitality.
Correct.
But also at the same time, there were more and more butterflies coming in my tummy because I knew that, the first day on ship or even the first few months on ship are not going to be easy, especially coming from Great Eastern where there is a legacy, the seniors, they really take care of you, but they also grill you. They grill you for the right reasons. So, and then after 8th day, the agent calls me and says, get ready. And I thought, man, the ship has come. He said, no, the ship is not coming. Ship has gone to Madras. No, you need to fly to Madras.
Oh, nice.
So I flew to Madras. Another 8 days in a hotel. Hotel was New Victoria at Egmore.
Wow.
Again. And then 2 more guys came into the hotel. They were also joining engineers. And then after 16 days of waiting in different hotels, I joined the ship. It was Jag Pragati. It was a small coastal carrier. While now I know how big shipping is, how big ships are. I mean, I was speaking to you also. We're talking of, close to 400 meters of ships. But that was a small ship. But in every sense, it was the biggest ship that I could imagine. It was a 27,000 ton.
For sure.
And 170 odd meters, 10.116
Yeah,
draft.
170 is still decent.
Yeah, and but the beauty of that ship was 27,000 dead weight, but it had a lifeboat capacity of 72.
Yeah, earlier the ships were like that. They used to have bigger lifeboats because what was the crew on board? What was the number?
So the total complement when I joined was 54.
54. See?
54.
Now
man.
it's 17, 18, man.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah. So amazing. So first few days, the fun story is the moment I reached the gangway, a couple of guys came in and said, okay, come to the CCR. I went to the CCR. One big guy introduced, I am the chief officer. Go change and come. I said, okay. I came. By the time, there was another guy in the boiler suit and said, I am the chief officer. What are you doing here? You should be taking some rest. I said, okay. I went back to my cabin. I was resting for about half an hour. I was like, topsy-turving on the bed. Suddenly I get a phone call. So, what are you doing? Are you hatching eggs? Come down. I am the chief officer. And I was like so confused.
The ragging started.
Who is the chief officer, man? Who is the chief officer? And it turned out chief officer has gone ashore. So it was all the third mates and second mates, were playing around with me. And of course, later stages, we became best of the buddies. And, it was an amazing camaraderie I shared with them. But yeah, first few days was pretty grilling. And, being away from home, being on a ship where you can't...
So it was a tanker, yeah?
It was a tanker. I've always been a tanker except once at later stage I got to sail on a dry bulk carrier. But all my life been on tankers. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so you joined as a cadet. You sailed with Great Eastern till you were second officer, yeah?
Till I was second officer.
And then you shifted to which company? And
then I went to sail with Denholm Ship Management, which was a very reputed tech managers at that time, based out of Glasgow. And there's a story behind that also, why I joined Denholm's. So when I did my second mates, Indian coastal shipping did not have that stringent requirements. But the moment I started to approach foreign companies, the first and foremost requirement was that you must have advanced firefighting course. And I tried my level best. Only 2 institutes in Mumbai, which is one was T.S. Rahman, the other was MTI Powai was giving firefighting course, advanced firefighting. It was not available. So I had done my TASCO, which was required for the dangerous cargo endorsement. And then you had to have AFF. And I couldn't get that. And I honestly didn't want to go back to Great Eastern because Great Eastern was pretty much operating a coastal fleet. And I was really wanting to spread my wings and say, boss, pahar jana hai yaar. Matlab, all the inspiration that I drew from people, coming from outside.
Correct.
And not getting to go out.
My question still remains, why Great Eastern? Why did you join Great Eastern? Was it just the only company which is there or which was there?
No. So why I joined Great Eastern was, so I applied for 3 companies. One was SR Shipping. I knew SR Shipping ran a cadetship program. Then I applied for APJ. There was a company, still is an APJ, which was also with the name of Surendra Overseas. And the last bit was Great Eastern. Now, Great Eastern also ran a cadetship program, and I knew TS Jawahar, which is Training Ship Jawahar, was where they would run their cadetship training program. And it was one of the most reputed training programs. And the people that I was speaking to earlier, they all said that if you get into Great Eastern, what you learn, what you become is a class apart. And that truly was true. And I was honestly very lucky to have been picked up by Great Eastern. It was almost about 120 people sat for the exams, and there were only 12 guys who got picked up. And
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were talking about why you shifted.
So why Denholm Ship Management? So I with all the dreams that I had seen that I'll go abroad in ships and all, really were put to wait with Great Eastern. Great Eastern had mostly at that time coastal tankers. They were all on IOC and BPCL charter. So all that we were doing was Haldia, Baj.
It must be really painful, no?
It was painful.
Pretty
now I think of it,
well.
But when with 54 people, you always look forward the moment that there's port around. You go out, have some good food, and with nice bunch of people around you.
There's a funny story. I was, sorry to interrupt. I was also sailing with SCI, and we have like 40-45 crew on board. So during stations, मैं थोड़ा सा गाला मारता था, okay? So during stations, and not that I wanted to गाला मारो, but it's just that I loved sleeping on board, So, अब मान लीजिए, let's say morning 4 o'clock you have stations, right? So I'm sleeping, maybe, third mate calls me, come on the bridge, or, it's like, come on the aft stations. 3:30 he calls me, I'm like, okay, coming. Then I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You know what happens? The bridge team used to think the cadet is
aft.
The aft team used to think the cadet is on the bridge. So nobody cared where the cadet was. SCI.
Even in Great Eastern, there were like, when I was sailing, there were at least 8 cadets. There used to be one cadet captain. Because you don't want all 8 cadets reporting to chief officer in the morning. So only the cadet captain will go get all the work done.
We used to have Vishwakarma. I don't know if you heard about it.
Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah.
MV Vishwakarma. Again, the cadet ship. Yeah. So they also used to have cadet captain. But when I was sailing, I don't know whether fortunate or unfortunate, I was the only cadet till 24 months of my sea time.
Wow.
it gives me a lot of learning also, and at the same time I was alone. But in SCI, the best thing is like people really care about you. If I go out with my chief officer or second mate, I don't have to worry about who is spending. The seniors are there and they're gonna take care of you. But not sure how was the culture in foreign companies.
Absolutely. Great Eastern had absolutely the same culture, and I think that's pretty much true for the entire shipping community in India. I think we take pride in taking care of our juniors. We take pride in bringing them under our wings. And although a lot has changed, but the foreign companies were absolutely different. And coming back to why did I join Denholm, because Denholm was only company which was ready to take me and put me on ship without advanced firefighting course. It said, okay, you go on ship, you book it now, so when you've done your contract, come back and do that. And that's how I joined Denholm and ended up doing 6 ships with them.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
So you were sailing with Denholm till chief officer?
I was sailing with Denholm till second mate. Denholm's got acquired, or rather merged, with Anglo Eastern, and I became mate with Anglo Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any learnings from your chief mate experience that you want to share? Let's say first time you became chief officer on ship. Anything that you can recall that people should?
There's one very specific event, or rather, it's the entire tenure, which has stood out, which has in my life and has really made me what I am. Is that I was sent on board a ship. My first promotion as chief officer was on a vessel called Al Masila, and Al Masila was owned by Aden Refinery Company. Yeah, so it was doing coastal Yemen, loading in Hudaira, Mukalla, Mukha, Aden. So it was pretty much doing that. And the fun part was, all the crew was Gemini.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I had a lot of things running in my mind. I had made the entire checklist. Usually the mariners are, while they're flying, they are making notes of things, what they want to do, take it from the chief officer, do blah, blah, blah. I joined at Aden.
So that was your first ship as a chief officer?
My first ship as chief officer.
Okay.
I joined there, and the outgoing chief officer, I asked him so many things. I had so many questions. Tank cleaning kaise karenge, what is the general routine, last time aapne ballast tank kab saaf kiye the, and all that. He said, Gaurav, yaar, yahan pe kuch nahi hota. I said, but why? He said, the Gemini crew, they don't enter the tanks. The moment you come to Aden, the entire crew goes home.
My God.
So there is only one pumpman, which is a Filipino, and chief officer, and maybe the second officer was also Gemini. They also go home. I said, okay. Now, Anglo Eastern being a top management with a lot of checklists and a lot of periodic tests and checks and whatever that they would want to do. So there was an entire plan in front of me, and I said, boss, how do I accomplish that? And one funny thing with Gemini was that even when the vessel is sailing, they would hardly work, because I'm not sure if you've ever heard of a herb called Capt. A Capt is like a local marijuana.
Oh,
okay.
Interesting. Which year are you talking about?
This is 1999, 2000.
Yeah, that time.
Yeah. So the entire crew would bring branches and branches of that Capt and put it in front of the table. For example, if this is a table, there is at least like 15 to 20 kgs of Capt lying there. And while in the smoke room, they were just watching movie, and they keep plucking the twigs and they just keep stuffing it in the mouth until their mouth swells like 6 inches big. And they just sit quietly and they slowly mix saliva, and then they get a kick out of it, whatever that amphetamines or whatever that they get.
Hell, man.
Yeah?
This is the story, man.
Yeah. So when I went there, I tried to use my authority, new chief officer, and I remember the bosun's name was Tariq. I said, Tariq, I want to speak to you. He said, yes, chief. I said, how about we do some splicing of the rope? He said, we'll do it tomorrow. Today is Capt time, And then slowly I realized that that mode of communication, which is authoritative, which is, only speaking about just work, doesn't work, honestly.
So you started sitting at Capt table also?
I started sitting at Capt table. I started eating Capt.
Freaking hell.
In 1 month, I was one of them. I became friends. I learned Arabic. And I mean, they became the best of the pals. And then when you become them and when they are on your side, it's a different game. Then they understood the requirement of the managers, the requirement of periodic, checks. And I made such a fantastic repo with not just the Yemeni crew on board, but also at the refinery. At Aden Refinery, I started teaching the loading masters how to make loading calculations and how to, take alleges and soundings of ship and how to do the calculations, different those tables, 54A, B, and 60, whatever. Yeah.
54.
But amazing. So what I learned was that there can be various styles of leadership, which they are. I think collaborative leadership and passing on the responsibility by not, by authority, but by making them realize that it's their vessel. I mean, I am there only for 6 months. I will go, but they're going to continue to sail for that
9 months.
9 months, 10 months, and come back on the same ship because that's Aden Refinery's vessels.
Yeah.
So I think it makes more sense for them to take care of the vessel than for me. And yeah, man, that is something. So the mantra that I took away from that tenure is that I never use the word I use word we. It is never about me. It's always about we. And that is something that how I work. That is something that I've learned also from the seniors that I have worked with. I continue to work with. It's always we. It's always
a team.
It's always a team.
Yeah,
it's always a team. It's never an individual thing.
True.
Yeah.
Interesting. So sailed with the Denom, Anglo-Eastern, then Aden Refinery.
Yeah, Aden Refinery. Yeah.
How about the first command?
Now, the story doesn't end here.
So you were like cat addict and you were bringing cat at home?
Almost, you can say that.
How was the kick like?
So it was very mild because honestly, I was not chewing as much as they were chewing. I was just chewing to be one of them. And I became so much one of them. Then they gave me the choga that they wear. Oh. They brought me a Yemeni symbol is like a kukri, the Gorkha kukri, but it's like twisted at the bottom. And they brought me that. And I would actually go on ship, attend stations in that choga with that dagger with me,
Interesting.
Yeah. And so happened that I did many stints. Then after as chief officer, I then started to sail with the company called Valis Steamships on Aframax tankers. I really was looking for some kind of an outlet, to come ashore. And at that time, I'm just, deviating slightly from the story, but I think it's pertinent here. There were not many avenues for the youngsters to come ashore. True. There was only crewing, manning, or tech management, or maximum that you could do was probably some training bit. That was maximum. In fact, as a cadet, I used to, when the superintendents would come on board, I would think that ek din bade hoke superintendent banunga. That is all that I could think of, and that is what probably all shipping was all about. True. And then, in quest to take some time and think ki kya karna chahiye, I joined extra masters classes at LBS. I did part A, 4 months. I was in the middle of part B, and I realized that was not for me. It was all pure academics, and it was heading towards either teaching or probably training. I said, but this doesn't excite me. I still hadn't got my command as well. And now the story from Al Masila, that Yemen. Once, one captain who was a superintendent in Anglo-Eastern had come to do the usual inspection, whatever, on Al Masila when I was mate. I met him in Bombay. He had come to LBS and he met me. Gaurav, kya kar raha hai yaar? He had come for his master's revalidation or whatever. I said, sir, ye kar raha hu, abhi to command bhi nahi mila. He said, I have a plan. He had become the head of manning at Univan.
Wow, what was his name?
Captain...
Sandeep, no.
No. Pradeep Singh Hugan.
I've heard his name, but not.
Sardarji, damn good, jolly
Captain
fellow.
Hugan, I think
Captain
he was
Hugan.
with the OMI as well.
Yeah.
Very jolly person.
Very jolly person.
Yeah.
And I said, kya kar rahe ho? I said, sir, ye kar raha hu. He said, come over. He called me to the office and I went one day. He said, look, I can give you command. It's a small vessel owned by Aden Refinery Company.
Wow.
I said, I will go there, man. I will go there. I like those people.
I'm already half Yemeni.
Yeah. And I went there again. And now think of it, how connections are made.
So there was coincidence, right?
It was coincidence, but it was more led to be a coincidence because he saw me how I was working there such fantastically well with the Yemeni crew.
Yeah.
Plus the owners were Aden Refinery. I had a great
Good
fan
reputation,
following or a
yeah.
rapport and acceptance. And the moment they proposed my name that Gaurav wants to come, he said, yeah. I mean, we know him, you know.
Okay.
So I was immediately, sent there. And the moment I met the crew, while this vessel was not Al Masila, it was a different vessel. It was called Bab Aden, a very small chemical carrier, but was pretty much carrying white oil. I met the crew, and they came and all kissed me. Just after several years, they met me, and they all were kissing me. Just the general Arabic greetings, and they said we were waiting for you, and when we got to know that you were coming, and we were all elated and joyed. But the thing is, I was in touch with them. I knew that a lot of things were not easy in Aden. For example, there were some crew members who wanted to get glasses for their grandmothers. Some people wanted some books to study, and Aden didn't have all that. So I would send them from India. I was still in touch with them, and it so happened that I got to sail with them again for 6 months. But it was an amazing time. Aden still was not what Aden and Yemen is now. Amazing memories I have. Yeah.
So you took command in Aden Refinery vessel again. What's the learning from becoming a master? Or you want to talk about any accidents or incidents that you had in your shipping career, whatever?
Yeah. So there are some not so good memories also. As master on that vessel. It was a small vessel, and probably it was like a training ship that Univan was using. Everybody who was to be promoted was being sent over there. I had one chief officer who's never sailed on tankers before. He got promoted as chief officer, who was on this. He was before on container vessels. And it so happened that we were doing tank cleaning, and I was standing on bridge wing in Red Sea, and suddenly there was a big blast noise, that came in. And I immediately realized there's something that has happened. I went straight running. Chief officer was on the catwalk still. I told him there is something that has happened in the pump room. I went straight down, and I saw that the ballast pump had completely blasted, and there was water continuously coming in. Water was like almost, the bilges were full. The blowers, the blowers would have a lower intake and a higher intake. The lower intake had already cut off, and the water was continuously coming in. I ran and I shut the sea chest with, almost like water till my, and I came up, and there was some oil in the bilges which started to float up, and, all because of the blowers being cut off, it was pretty gaseous. And, and that's the time when we wrote to the company, this is what has happened. But maybe because of the geographics, because for whatever, there was not a great support that came from the company. We were still out at sea. I had a fantastic pump man. In fact, not a pump man, it was an engine fitter by the name of Mayur. Again, it was a training ship. It was an experiment ship. And I'll tell you, experiment, generally we've seen all that, whenever there's a new joiner, you ask which was the last ship, especially in Great Eastern. Some people say, no, last ship, I was from Indian Navy. So there were some Navy people would come. One fitter who came there, and I asked him which was last ship. He said, no, I'm from Indian Air Force. I said, Air Force? He said, yeah, I was from the Air Force, and I retired, and I made my CDC, and I've come here. This is my first time I'm on ship. So that was the kind of experiment that company was doing,
Company was doing, yeah.
Chief officer was from containers. If he wanted promotion, okay, you have to go on Bab Aden. I thought that they were looking at me, because I had the rapport with the Aden Refinery, but probably that was the ship. So that guy, fitter, Mayur, he had come from some industry background. He was not from shipping. And that really I took to my advantage. I said, boss, ये पंप का तो सब कुछ खुल गया है, फट गया है बिल्कुल, मतलब उसके तो टुकड़े टुकड़े उठा के लाए. For 3 or 4 days on the poop deck behind, aft deck, we prepared a jig, उसके ऊपर वेल्ड करके वो पंप लगा के पूरा कास्ट उसका नया बनाया, पूरा का पूरा कास्ट. So while I want to say that that's the caliber of the Indian seafarers, but also sometimes, you have to do things which ideally you wouldn't do. Especially on a tanker, you would not do, welding. But in absence of support, what do you do? And that's when I realized what, you know, in what conditions some of our, fellow people, some of our industry fellows, they are working. I mean, I now see so many incidents here and there where people are not getting wages. People are, just for the sake of job opportunities, just for the sake of promotions, they join some companies where it's best not to go.
True.
But yeah, I mean, I had the best support from the entire engine staff. The chief engineer was amazing. I'm still in touch with him.
But did you figure out the reason why the ballast pump blasted?
Yeah, poor maintenance. At the end, everything has. It's something not new that I'm speaking. Everything needs to be maintained as per the running hours. Companies need to ensure they give the support, ensure they have the right spares, the right expertise. And if it doesn't, you're basically, you're just taking your chances, Correct. So and that vessel, Aden Refinery, again, I do not know the arrangement between the tech managers and the owners. What was the budget like? What was it, So at that time, I was not even aware of all that, Command मिला है, जहाज चल रहा है, नाम के आगे कप्तान लिखना है.
Correct. Interesting. So there's this question I think we already covered. What were some of the most valuable life skills you learned during your time as a captain on board or as a mate?
Yeah, I think there has been a lot of soft skills and hard skills that I've picked up both. But the life-changing ones are being resourceful. Nowadays, a lot of resources are at hand. So if somebody is given a task and he says that I can't do it, I think he doesn't even know what all resources he has at hand.
Or maybe he doesn't want to do it.
He doesn't want to do it. Probably that could be one of the reasons. Yeah. When we are at sea, you have limited resources, limited manpower, limited spares, limited time, because there's so much of commercial pressure. There's much pressure that you need to be in port on this time. And there's a quotation which says that winds and waves are always on the side of the ablest navigator. Winds and waves will always be there, but if you can navigate well, you will always bring them to your side.
True.
And I think that holds good for the resources which you have. The resources could be the people's talent. पहले तो मैं डेक हूँ, वो इंजन हम बात नहीं करेंगे, ठीक है ना. ये सेकंड ऑफिसर है, ये चीफ ऑफिसर है, ये चीफ ऑफिसर मुझसे एज में बड़ा है, ईगो प्रॉब्लम है.
Ego issues, yeah.
But I've had such fantastic people, only if you know, you make them realize that they are equally important. You make them realize that there is nothing such as deck and engine. At the end, we both are peas in the same pod, and we are running the ship together. So I think being resourceful, as captain, I've had exigencies, I've had problems where vessels have run aground, where I've had a collision. It was a very tough time. One vessel, she was in Parana River in Argentina. And in Argentina River, going up and down, doing STS in Charlie Zone, or Bravo Zona and Common Zona. I once ran aground. It was soft mud. But, the chief engineer supported me so much. Immediately I said, Bada Saab, I think we've stuck to the ground. He immediately, activated the entire engine staff, without thinking, Similarly, then, while STS, one vessel was coming alongside, it was a small vessel. It was more of an elision, on the bridge wing. She
came close.
She came very close, and she was rolling very heavily, and she came close. So, but the staff was fantastic. So, and I'm sure, Captain Rajat, you would have also seen, I'd like to, in fact, ask you also if you've had the same experience where the vessels have been pretty shit, but the crew has been amazing. Old vessels, din raat tank cleaning ho raha hai, kisi ko sone ko nahi mil raha, but people have been super nice. But brand new ships, everything is automated, and there's so much of politics on ships.
You're right. Actually, when I was a cadet, so there was this ship, State of Nagaland, general cargo ship. I joined that ship just because I wanted to travel the world.
Right.
The first ship was a oil tanker, Paramveer Chakra series. I think
PVCs,
you know what PVC is. So first ship was busy, tank cleaning, this and that, and didn't have time to go out. So I was like, okay, let's go to general cargo ship. At least we'll get time. So 25 years old ship, Japanese built, good bilge suction, and the bilge cleaning of the hold is amazing. Um, but we had amazing staff. The chief officer was amazing. He was from Nagpur. He's still a good friend. And the master was ex-Navy.
Mm-hmm.
He's always after me. He was always after me because I was a single cadet, and I think chief officer used to take good care of me, like really good care. So for 8 months, I had like best time. You won't believe, as a cadet, morning 6 o'clock, the OS used to come and wake me up with the chai
bhakti.
and toast.
Wow.
As a cadet, I never had this
Privilege.
ever. Even when when I became the management chief officer also, but that was something which was like extraordinary for me as a cadet. So he went, the new chief officer came, and I think the crew or the officers, they have कान भर दिए उनके कि cadet थोड़ा सा spoiled है and all these things. So he joined. He was like, his humor was good, so I was also like enjoying. Oh, nice chief officer. Sir, yes. Okay, let's go on the bridge wing. So okay, we went to the bridge wing. We went to, so on, instead of Nagaland, on the bridge, the backside after of the bridge had a swimming pool. Okay, so he was roaming around with me. Rajat, this is a swimming pool, very interesting. I said, yeah, sir, sometimes we should fill it. Yeah, Rajat, you're right. We should
Start chipping.
we should fill this. But don't you feel that it's looking, it needs some maintenance. It's rusted, right? I said, yes, sir. Yeah, we should tell Bosan. No, Rajat, don't tell Bosan. Tomorrow morning you start chipping. I was left with 2 months of sea time to finish my cadetship, and he is giving me chipping. I'm like, what the hell, man? So the entire perception of having good time changed on board. Then we actually came to Bandar-e Khomeini. He was the chief officer, and he was pissed at something, I don't remember. He's like, okay, now middle of the afternoon, he told me, Rajat, go in the forecastle and start chipping the mooring winches. They freaking hell, imagine like 45 to 50 degree temperature, and I'm chipping. So then I was like, let me just go and talk to him. Why is he like behaving? I have to finish my work, navigation and all these tasks. I was doing DLP with Tulani as well. So I told him, Chief, why are you doing all this? So the captain was still the same. So I went to captain also, because chief officer didn't seem to care. I told captain, this is what is happening. I have to finish my DLP, and this is not the time to do chipping and painting when I'm almost about to complete my sea time.
Yeah.
It's like something is intentionally trying to harass me for no reasons, right? I mean, you have your SCI vessel, you have 50 crew. Why the cadet should do the chipping, painting? I mean, it doesn't make sense. So the captain, I think he took charge, and he told chief officer, give cadet the work that he would be doing as a third mate, not the chipping. So after that, chief officer like, Rajat, if you want, you can do this, Rajat. So things changed, but I took a stand, yaar, kya hi kar rahe hain, matlab, why? So, but then, one day when I was in MMD in Noida, I saw this guy standing, and I was driving, so I gave him lift, and he was like very happy that, he is still friends, because he felt that, I was so angry at him, and we were never friends, something like that. But anyway, he's a good guy, so this is how things change, once you have the staff changing on the ship. Yeah,
True.
So,
and also I think it's sometimes people, how they behave on ship generally is not how they truly are in real life when they're ashore, and maybe their perception about people change when we grew up in the ranks. But yeah, so the lesson that I took, one life skill lesson, is that that can be applied on ship, applied in companies, and even in families, is that you take everybody together. If adversities make people strong, they make teams strong. As long as teams know that this is an adversity, this is a problem. You take problem only on yourself, then is an issue. For example, when I was Denham third mate, suddenly in New Orleans, Captain said, tomorrow we have LSA, FFA, and whatever survey class is coming tomorrow. And I was so scared. I said, boss, I've been running 6 on 6 off, and suddenly tomorrow I have to do. He said, I don't care. Tomorrow is a class coming, and you have to do that. So I told the chief officer. Chief officer said, don't worry about it. It's not your survey, right? While you're in charge of life-saving appliances, but safety equipment survey, I'll put crew. So while crew was doing the cargo work, they did everything together. So I think how you communicate and you pass, I would not use the word pass, but you share the responsibilities. Let everybody also understand that
Feel
they are
the part of
responsible,
the system,
equal
yeah.
responsible.
Yeah.
And that's what is happening in companies today. I mean, where I am serving, where I'm working, whatever that we are doing it together.
Yeah, it's a team.
Yeah,
Interesting.
It's a team.
Okay, so Captain Gaurav, the transition ashore, how did this happen? Did you, I mean, you always had the plan of shifting ashore when you joined sailing, or was it your family pushing you?
So I really enjoyed my time on board. You know, I still miss it sometime. But after I got married and my first daughter was born, she was sailing with me. She was just 1 year old. She in fact learned to walk.
On the ship.
She took her first steps on ship where I was master. It was high presence with D'Amico. And it is then I realized that very soon this joy will be over because she'll start to go to school. So either I continue to sail and meet her only once in 3-4 months, whatever, or I do something where I watch her grow every day. And that was the turning point.
I think that's something which every sailor has to go through, and they have to make a decision to either keep sailing or, take an initiative to shift ashore. Yeah,
True. Some of my senior friends or even the masters that I had sailed with, they were not of the opinion. They said, Gaurav, just thoda sa dil pakka kar lo. In fact, you've slogged all the way from cadet to master. Once you get command, that's the real time where you can enjoy, apart from being responsible for the ship, there is not really day-to-day work that you have to do.
Correct.
And when it's time to actually, enjoy your time
fruit.
on fruit of all the hard work that you've put, and you're beginning to think of shifting ashore. I said, I think I owe it to my family. I would like to stay with them.
Correct.
And that's when I started to think of coming ashore. So the story is that, and it's very typical of seafarers, maybe times have changed now, but it was typical at least at that point. You ask any seafarer, make a CV or a resume and give it to me. He would just give you the sea time certificate. Ki this ship so many times, this ship so many times, this ship, and I have STCW courses and US visa, and that was all resume meant.
Still, I think for any seafarer, this is the resume, right?
True. And my sister, my younger sister, she was working at the time with I think Adobe at that time.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I told her, Priya, I want to come ashore. She said, okay, send me a resume and let me see what can be done. She was in Bangalore. And I sent her this entire thing of all the ships with the, contract completed. She said, what is this? I said, this is my resume. I said, Gaurav, what do I do of this? You don't even know how to write a resume. I said, Priya, this is my resume.
This is what I've done.
This is all that I have done.
Yeah.
But there is so much that we as seafarers do. There's so much that we've learned. It's just that we do not probably know how to show it to the world.
We take it for granted.
Not really take it for granted. We think that people understand what we do.
True.
And that's what, Rajat, I think that there is something called seamanship we all learn. We all must learn showmanship.
Interesting.
It's like जब ISM code आ रहा था, आप इतना काम कर रहे हो, now it is required for you to fill in papers and put it in records. You want to maintain the right records. So there used to be that the work is only over when the paperwork is over, right? Now similar is the kind of skill sets that mariners pick up is, I think, unparalleled. I think probably the only thing that comes closest is army chaps,
Navy,
yeah, because they are the ones who've worked in, very difficult,
True.
Environments, hostile environments with different teams and quick change of scenarios. That's exactly same with shipping as well. You're working with 3, 4, 5 different nationalities, different.
True.
How do you put it? You don't, and that's where I'm coming from. If I give it to you, my CTAM certificate, you'll understand. You'll say, "Acha, Gaurav did 5 VLCCs, 4 FRAMAXs and all that." But if I give it to a corporate, only if they know what it entails to be a mariner, they would probably fathom the kind of skill sets that I've acquired. Otherwise, no.
Nothing. True.
And that's for shipping people. Shipping is our world, but honestly, in the large corporate scheme of things, it's just a small facet, right?
True.
They have no idea.
True.
They have no idea where it goes. And thankfully, there's more awareness which is happening on LinkedIn. We recently had the International Day of the Seafarer.
True.
I'm really so glad that at least there is a small space we get in the international arena in terms of portraying. We are the ones who are moving the entire world trade.
True.
But then beyond this, nobody even knows.
True.
So then Priya helped me write. She took my classes. Tell me what all you do on ship. She says, I know that you're a captain, but tell me what all you do. I told her everything that I would do from day to day, larger responsibilities, blah, blah, blah. And then she helped me craft a CV. We didn't have ChatGPT then. Now it's fairly simple. You just upload and ChatGPT gargles out something for you. But then she made that. And I said, okay, I have my resume done. अब क्या करना है इसका? कुछ नहीं हो सकता इसका. Okay, कुछ नहीं हो सकता because I am 12th pass. I didn't have, at that time I didn't have a BSc degree also.
True.
And then she suggested, Gaurav, why don't you try for an MBA? I said, am I even eligible? I don't know. She said, Gaurav, try and you will find out. At least you need to get out of it. I said, okay. I started to write to several universities. I Googled. A lot of universities said, yes, we give due credit to the commercial skill set and the license that you have, but you need to have a GMAT. And I said, what is this? And then one thing led to the other. I then started, I did attend some GMAT classes. I gave my GMAT. And it so happened that after GMAT, I immediately went back on ship. I applied for 5 schools. I got through all schools. And all schools wanted, a telephonic interview or a face-to-face interview. I was already on ship. And, I had to time my interviews on SATCOM.
My God.
Only when, for example, one institute where I applied is a very reputed institute. It's called Asian Institute of Management, Manila, Philippines. Very reputed. Those guys said, okay, they gave me 3 slots. And I said, on this day, I am in Singapore Straits, cannot do. On this day, I'm out in the Indian Ocean. Here, Indian Ocean, I can do. And this is how I would do. And so I got through pretty much all the institutes where I was trying. This Warwick Business School, which is from University of Warwick, I chose because not only they gave a good credit to what skill set I was bringing, but also they gave me a scholarship.
Interesting.
And that was really helpful. And that really opened my vision to the world. MBAs are not only about just academic learning. And I think that's true for pretty much any learning. You just learn maybe 30-40% from the books, but rest of the learning comes from the peers, from the friends, from the company that you have.
Yeah, very interesting.
And that's all these large international MBAs try to do. They try to bring a lot of diversity, people from different diverse backgrounds, who can contribute to study which no textbook can.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that made me get on my journey with MBA. But also that was not an easy ride.
So you were married when you joined
Yes.
the MBA.
Yes.
So you made a plan that you have to save this much
Yes.
money to
True.
do the MBA.
Yeah.
And how much was the investment back then?
So in 2008, when I did it, was 42 lakhs.
Yeah, at that time.
I got through another institute, which is one of the top 5, INSEAD.
INSEAD, yeah.
Yeah. But at that time, INSEAD was coming to about 70 lakhs. And I didn't have that money. In fact, I'll tell you, only very few people know, I had only 1 2-bedroom apartment. I sold that to fund my MBA. And a lot of people said, Gaurav, you've done already a lot of studies. People generally after command make houses, you're selling yours. I said, this is my investment in my future. And I'm so glad I'll do it all over again.
Wow, very interesting. How was your family's reaction when you told your wife, okay, now we're going to sell this house?
My family was full of support. I mean,
Mm.
I think for my wife and my daughter was still 1.5, 2 years, whatever. For my wife, I think the biggest thing was that we were taking together this journey, which, if was successful, we'll get to stay together. We'll get to grow the family together. I think that was more
Very interesting.
of our objective than a house. You can make so many houses, but if you don't get to stay in them, you're getting to stay on ship. What good is that house?
Very interesting. You can make a lot of houses, but you cannot stay together. What's the point?
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so you moved to UK with your wife while you were doing MBA.
True. I went with my wife and my daughter, and the university was very kind to give me a very large 2-bedroom apartment, whilst every other friend of ours who was studying was into halls of residences, as it's called. But I had a large flat to my disposal. But the funny thing is, my life is full of these joyous moments, which have become
I'm
now
getting
funny now.
inspired now. Very interesting.
Yeah. The day my MBA started, the same day Lehman Brothers crashed.
Oh, freaking hell.
And I had no idea what Lehman Brothers is.
Yeah.
You know, coming from ship and meeting people from software industry, meeting people from... So there were total 78 people in that class. There were about 11 Indians. We had people from Colombia, people from Chile, Germany, England, America, Australia, France, you name, and it was very diverse. I was the only shipping captain. I mean, everybody called me captain,
Yeah.
and I was so proud that I'm the one who's standing out, and I'm the one who's
Yeah.
probably everybody's putting their attention to. But the moment these things start to take shape, where Lehman Brothers crashed, and then we saw the world crumbling down, a lot of companies shutting.
True.
I had no idea. But everybody had a lot of idea. A lot of people had come from finance background, banking backgrounds, and they knew that this was really, beginning of something which was very big and very troubling for us. I had no idea, and probably I was living in oblivion, and I was still happy-go-lucky. Boss, MBA करने को मिल रहा है, वही बहुत है.
वही बहुत है.
इसके बाद देखेंगे क्या करना है.
But in a way, it was positive because you didn't know much about what was happening around the world. Otherwise, you'll be like, अरे यार इतने पैसे खर्च करके आ रहा हूँ और अभी the world is crashing.
So things happen for a reason, and when you take a moment or two in life and you reflect back and you think, did it change the way it could have been? It did change. For example, Warwick Business School was one of the top 25 schools in the world at that time in FT rankings. It had fantastic industry network connection, and pretty much everybody was assured of a good placement.
Very interesting.
But within the first 3 months, we knew that probably no company was visiting. There were few companies who visited because of their tie-ups with the college, but none of them was offering a job. So maybe if the recession hadn't happened, or the Lehman Brothers, that reaction of companies folding hadn't happened, maybe I would have got a job outside shipping. But because there were no jobs and I did not know what to do, in fact, people were struggling to get an MBA project,
Internship project.
Internship projects. The year previous to us, almost everybody got a good project, paid projects where, you work with a company for 4 months, 3 months, whatever. You work on a project with them, they pay you, and hopefully it culminates
recruit,
into an absorption as well.
Yep.
But with us, only 6-7 people got proper projects. I was one of them, fortunate. But again, because of shipping. I was thinking where I'll get. Once I got in touch with the Dublin Port Company, and the project manager said that, okay, we have a project, we'd like to give it to you. But the project is based out of India.
Oh, again, coming back.
And when I came to India to do the project, it was with Chogle. Chogle is a shipping company, which was at the time making the port in Ratnagiri, which is called now the Angre Port.
Angre, correct.
Yeah, so Dublin Port Company was a technology partner. They were passing all the technology, the expertise of making the port, and now at the same time they were investors in Port Angre.
Okay.
So I was representing Dublin Port, and I was looking at all the detailed project reports and the port feasibility studies, And when I came to India, nobody was talking of recession, nobody was talking of jobs being laid off or whatever. And that was so heartening, to see. The internal demand, the growth story of India was, still, still peaking and developing, and like there was every day new jobs that were being offered. So maybe it was a natural path that I took, come back to shipping, and I'm so glad that I did that. You know,
So let's come back to Chogles. What was the project in your internship, and what was the learning from that project? And this is how the Goa happened?
no, that is not how the Goa happened. But again, one thing is connected to the other. Uh, so the Chogule project was that they had about 250 acres of land, which was on coast, which was very close to the Jindal Jagger port.
Jagger Port.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were making. They had a lot of captive cargo, which was the bauxite cargo, which was being moved in small transshippers, and they thought that they could make it big. They could bring some large vessels rather than small transship, those barges, and they were also looking at establishing a yard, a repair cum shipyard. So my project was to study the hinterland, study what business development can be done from there, what kind of business can be done. So I still remember, going from small business houses, small export houses in Ratnagiri to say that if this port takes shape and if we start to bring in feeder, will you send your containers from here? So Ratnagiri primarily, the business is those seafood.
Correct.
There are two companies. One is Nayak and one is Gadre Marine. I still remember going and sitting how they're making crab sticks and how they are packing and putting it in containers. So one was that. Also, the terrain was slightly tricky because at the coast of those Western Ghats, I was doing all the studies how the container trucks would come. Then I was studying, being a mariner, I was studying what should be the draft here, how the channel will be dredged. So pretty much, ended up making SOPs for the
Very
port,
interesting.
and
Very
so while it was not a pakka MBA project wherein I had to strategize, but it was a good exposure for me. The other side of shipping. Before it was just always on board ships, but this time started to look at the ports.
Yeah, basically you're making a new port, so there are a lot of learnings from that as well, right?
Yeah.
How some companies make port is a big learning.
True.
You could have used that experience too.
But it opened my eyes to so many things because I was not only studying just this port. I started to study all the minor ports. How many major ports are there, how many minor ports are there, the vast coastline of India, the vast potential the Indian coast has. It still has. The government ran so many initiatives of, there was build, operate, transfer, build, own, operate, transfer. And I tell you honestly, without taking names, a lot of these ports, they just ate subsidies and what the government was funding. None of the ports actually came up to the true potential.
Yeah. I think that's also one of the reasons these private ports are picking it, just because the government port is, I think they're taking things for granted.
The government is doing the best that they can, but I think, I'm not sure who said that, but governments should be only governing. They should not be running businesses. We've seen with Air India, right? So I think it's best that the private companies who are expert at maximizing the efficiency, deriving the maximum out of the ports, should do that.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Do that,
Yeah.
So I'm sure.
In fact, in Goa also, if you see, Adani has a berth, Jindal has 2 berths, and I think now Vivanta has also taken over a couple of berths. So again, like, they must have realized that we are not able to do so. Let's just give it to the private players,
True.
Okay, so this Angre port, did this happen, like your project?
So it was in its infancy.
But Jagger Port was already doing
Jagger
it.
Port was already doing.
Yeah.
In fact, I still remember 2009. I think it was 21st August or 22nd August. First capesize came to Jagger Port.
Yeah.
Now Jagger Port, I remember Captain Karnad. Captain Karnad was the harbour master. I met him. I in fact saw the vessel coming in as well.
I met him in Goa. He was the marine consultant to chairman in Goa Port.
Right. Small world, yeah. So, see, it was created to first take care of the captive cargo because Jindal had erected that power plant, which was coal-fired power plant. So it was bringing a lot of coal. And then they said that they'll extend the facilities to other cargoes as well. Out with this Angre port, it was at least 3 years behind Jagger port. So it was still in its infancy. And that gave me a lot of exposure in consulting, how consultants work. The Dublin Port Company and Chogle had together given this project to Deloitte to make the complete report, the detailed project report and the port feasibility. And I was overseeing that. So I was working closely with Deloitte as well. But because it was still very far from being made, I couldn't convert my internship into a full-blown employment with them.
Okay. So after that,
I had no idea what to do. I didn't want to. I had spent every penny that I had. I was living on student mode. I tell you, in Mumbai, when I was working with Chogle, I was staying at Seva Niketan for 150 rupees per day.
what about your family?
My family was back in Lucknow. I said, you guys go and I'll take care of the project. But I was like back to basics. It was like cadetship,
yeah.
And I desperately wanted a job. That recession thing had really, changed the mindset, and I wanted any job. One friend told me that there could be a job opening in Reliance. I applied there. I had no idea what job opening was. I just wanted a job. And it turned out that they had an opening for a pilot. They call it DPC, Duty Port Captain, plus pilotage. I applied. They were very kind to call me to Jamnagar. That was the first time I went in the private plane of Mr. Ambani.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I applied. They said, okay, present yourself in Jamnagar for an interview on such and such date. I said, I cannot. I don't have money. I need to book train tickets. They said, no, don't worry about it. Report to Old Barrel Gate number 8, Santa Cruz Airport on such and such time. I had no idea what Old Barrel Gate is, honestly.
Correct.
And I went there, and it was a private plane of Mr. Ambani. There were 3-4 more people who were flying. So generally, they have those private planes twice a day going from Mumbai, corporate office to Jamnagar. And the people from Mumbai, they go. So they booked a seat for me as well. I went there.
Very interesting.
Gave my interview. It was a very nice interview. And I had to see the port. So I, as a mariner on ship, had come to Reliance Port 3-4 times earlier. But to see the other side of the port, the refinery complex, the township, it was a very, very
So you're
proud
talking about
moment.
Sikka?
Sikka,
Sikka.
Yeah.
So you've seen the Sikka building up?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And so I took that job immediately. I said, this is what I want to be. And considering that I was getting opportunity to again work in the port, I thought it was just a continuation of what I was doing. I started to work with Reliance. An amazing time. I started to learn pilotage and doing port duties. I was in charge for the SOPs of the port, and also I was the oil spill in charge as well as the pilot. A lot of responsibility, again, if you take, or no responsibility if you just want to pass it.
True.
One incident that comes to mind is that I used to keep shifts. There was A, B, C shift. So A shift would be from morning 6 till 2. B would be from 2 to 10. And the C would be 10 to morning 6. So I was about 6:30 in the morning. One VLCC was coming in. And they were rigging the pilot ladder or whatever, the combination ladder. One person fell and was man overboard.
Crew.
Now, they were still about 25-30 miles away from Reliance Port.
But the currents are crazy out
Currents are crazy. And of course, the VTC out with us, they were already preparing, and the pilot was already preparing to go in about 2 hours when the vessel was coming closer. And the vessel just reported man overboard. The VTC came running, the officer said, "Sir, there's a man overboard." Now, either I could have said that, boss, it's far from port's jurisdiction, let them do what they're doing, or I take an action. Now, Reliance, I tell you, while I was a captain, while I was an MBA, but Reliance has this beautiful way of learning up the ropes, and you still are a cadet, even though you join as a pilot, but because it's such a big organization, you start your journey afresh. So either I call my section in charge and ask him what to do, or I do something immediately. And the mariner in me immediately rose up and said, boss, there's a man overboard, there's a laden VLCC coming in. They do not have much maneuvering room also, so they can't take all the Williamson turns and all that while they're laden.
True.
So Reliance had a fantastic infrastructure in terms of port. So they had beautiful tugs, well powered. They had 2 fast boats called Eagle and Chetak. So I called Eagle and Chetak. I said, Eagle, I dispatched Eagle immediately. I said, Eagle, you will go.
So how it was not monsoon season, yeah?
No, it was not monsoon
Lucky.
season. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eagle went, and of course we were continuously in touch with the vessel. Said okay, we've deployed the man overboard marker, and the guy is still in sight. The guy is still in sight.
Oh, he was
Yeah,
inside.
still in sight, and it was just the twilight as it was morning.
6:30.
Yeah, dawn was happening, and then I called Mundra port. So there was I'm not sure if things have changed. There was a Coast Guard station in Mundra. I called and I spoke to the commandant of that Mundra port, and I said, this is the DPC here. There's a man overboard. I want you to keep the chopper ready. They said, chopper is going to be standby. They confirmed the chopper is standby. I related to the vessel. Eagle, which was our speedboat, reached there on time. But by the time she was reaching, they picked up the guy.
Already picked him.
All picked up the guy. Now, I took all this action without even thinking that what will Reliance think. I'm using their resources. I'm using government resources, putting a chopper standby.
Correct.
But what came to my mind was that no matter what I do, I want to save this guy. And then I think as a country, which is India, as a company which is Reliance, I'm sure that they would be proud of saving somebody's life. Without keeping all the processes and all the hierarchical orders that I need to take from one or the other aside. If you could save somebody, I think that's what matters at the end.
Captain, what I feel, I think your captain instinct took over.
True, absolutely.
You imagine yourself as a captain of the ship, like, if I would have been captain, what would you have done? So
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was telling before. You should know what resources you have. You can either sit with your hand on your lap and say, boss, they're 30 miles off, they're not yet in Sikka port limits. Not my responsibility. Or you say, I have this resources, fair enough, I can use them judiciously and do something about it. That's what I did.
So you're saying that you didn't call the higher management?
I didn't call anybody because early in the morning I don't want to call. And what will they say? Either they'll say, don't do that, which is against my conscience.
Of course.
Or they will say, go ahead and do it, which anyway I'm doing
Anyway, you're going to do.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you had a lot of learnings from Reliance, yeah?
I had a lot of learnings, but one not so good learning was that probably I was a misfit over there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
you were
because-
overqualified to be there.
Yeah. So when
How
I
was
was
the piloting experience? Let's talk about your piloting experience.
So piloting experience was very nice. Unlike there were some pilots that I knew from JNPT, they would do probably 3, 4, 5 movements a day. Reliance was like maximum 1 movement a day.
Interesting.
Yeah. Or you do 1 SPM, you take the vessel on SBM and you become then the loading master. You do about 24 hours to 30 hours. And then you get 1 day comp off, compensatory off, because you spent 1 day away from home. So that was fun. But one thing that started to pinch me was that, and when my colleagues also started to call out, is Gaurav, you've spent so much money and time acquiring your MBA, and if you had to be pilot, you could have been pilot even before. What's the point of doing an MBA? And I was really hoping that Reliance would take note of my additional qualification and give me something more aligned or in congruency with that. But that didn't happen.
Reliance never took a note.
No.
That's sad.
Yeah. No, but that they're such a big organization. They're under no obligation to take that note. I'm extremely proud of what they're doing, and it's just that then I had to make amends and probably change my course. Yeah.
You were overqualified to be a pilot there. But did you enjoy piloting?
I honestly did not enjoy, and I'll tell you why. There was always a fear in my mind that I saw 2 captains who had fractured their hand.
While boarding or?
No, while playing cricket or doing something, and then because of the cast that they had it in hand, they couldn't conduct pilotage because they couldn't climb the pilot ladder. They couldn't do anything, going up and down.
So you're saying some pilots had this injury?
Yeah.
Okay.
And in Reliance itself.
Okay.
And that started to play in my mind. I said, boss, if something like this happens to me, then just because of my incapacity to climb the pilot ladder, my entire career would come to a stall. And therefore, it was always in my mind that this is not something that I'd like to continue for long. I loved port. I loved being part of such a big logistic hub, supply chain. Reliance was, and it still is, probably one of the biggest refineries in the world, about 100 million tons of crude being shipped out of or towards Sikka. To play even a small part was, I think, a matter of pride and joy for me. But pilotage is something that I didn't enjoy. Only because of this reason, because I always felt that this was not something I could continue for long.
Interesting.
And then MBA was like a sword hanging. People are asking this question.
So you joined piloting just because you had nothing else to do?
True.
Because of this Lehman Brothers.
Yeah,
Interesting. Okay, so how did you make the next shift?
And that's when magic happens, right?
Interesting.
True.
Tell me about it.
So that was the time when few of our batchmates had begun also to, step ashore. One thing which is really emphasized in MBA a lot is networking. I used to think that what's in networking? If I'm capable, I'll get selected. If I'm not capable, I'll not get selected. But I realized in MBA and more so after that if you know people, references work. If somebody can vouch for your professionalism, somebody can vouch for that you can do a job good and wonderfully, I think it carries word. So that's what happened when I was in Reliance. Chogale kept calling me in between, on and off as a consultant to work on their SOPs, but it was not still a full-time job while I was working with Reliance. Then one of my batchmates who was working with Bhari.
Bahari?
Yeah.
Bahari Dubai.
Yeah. He's a director with Bhari now. He's a great bumcher of mine. He told me, Gaurav, there is a commercial opening coming with a company called Scorpio. Two things. I had no idea what Scorpio was. I had no idea what commercial shipping was. Because all that I knew about shipping till sailing was either there is manning, crewing, agency, or technical superintendents, fleet management, QMS, all that. So I said, okay, let me take a chance. And I wrote a mail to Scorpio. Thankfully, I was called for an interview. I flew from Jamnagar to Bombay, gave the interview. Now, they also did not require an MBA, honestly. No. But somehow I could convince them that the soft skills that I have picked up with my MBA, which is my communication skills, my timekeeping, my a structured way of reporting, my a very structured way of looking at things with a clear objective, probably can help them. And they had recently set up a commercial desk in India. And I got picked up by them. And the magic continues since then. Amazing journey. Learning so much about commercial shipping, opening my eyes to the real world of shipping. When you're a captain, even as a cadet, when you look at the vast expanse of the sea and you say, wow, I have arrived. I always thought as master I had arrived. But when I joined commercial shipping, I said, wow, this is also shipping and this is so much more than just what ships are.
True.
And so that's when that was my first.
So that's how your commercial shipping journey started.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you tell our audience about what is commercial shipping and how does it work and how can somebody take part in this commercial shipping world?
It's a very good question, and I'll tell you why this is a good question. Because even as master, many of the captains probably are not privy to what commercial terms are. Some of them may be out of sheer curiosity, or maybe some companies may share with the captains. But otherwise, generally, we do not even know. In every briefing that we as masters go to office, what is emphasized more is on ISM, SM doc, and safety first. Safety first. Pollution, don't do this, don't do that, safety first, take care, blah, blah, blah. All that is super important. I'm not taking away that. But nobody tells you that the owner has bought a ship by his own money or most likely financed it, is paying top dollar interest on that, and therefore he wants to make money on that ship. We are into commercial shipping. We are not into defense or naval ships, right? Which means it becomes obligation of the ship staff to make every voyage a commercially viable or a commercially profitable voyage for the owner.
True.
So every time when as a captain I'm saying that this tank cleaning will not take 72 hours but will take 96 hours, I'm not realizing that the owner has just now lost $40,000.
True.
That's what commercial shipping is. So from this side, and you don't have to be honestly a seafarer, majority of the commercial ship people are either mathematics, statisticians, or plain people who have a lot of affinity towards commercials, towards commerce.
True.
How do you fix vessels? Who fixes those vessels? How does a vessel go on charter to Shell, Chevron, Mobil, or ST, or Trader, Trafigura, or whatever? After it's fixed, who performs the voyage? Who gets the bunkers? Who tells you that, Captain, don't start the cargo yet? Wait for an LOI. Who does all that? Who, at the end of the voyage, collects the freight? At the end, that's what matters, right? The vessel has to load the cargo safely, discharge within time, ensure within the minimum time, ensure with due dispatch. All those terms that we've heard, who ensures that? That's the commercial side of it. Yeah? Who's fixing when you are putting the vessels on subs? What does even subs means? You know? I tell you, for the sake of maybe repeating, but you know, as master, I used to think that epitome of shipping, I have arrived. But when I started my journey again as a cadet.
As a cadet in commercial shipping.
In commercial shipping, learning so much. And there are now a lot of avenues where we've Narottam Morarji Institute, which runs commercial shipping. There is one very good friend of mine, Gaurav Rana, who
already did the
Sea
and Beyond.
Sea and Beyond, who does a lot of, he's taking a lot of endeavors to educate people in commercial shipping. But that's a whole new world, whole different world. And when you start thinking like a commercial guy, when it becomes part of your DNA, just like your DNA would be as pilot is port, starboard, hard starboard, steady as she goes. Here you ask, say, there used to be an ad on Indian television, ye deti kitna hai?
Correct.
You know? So when you are a commercial ship, after everything, what's the TC?
Correct.
What are you getting? What's the time charter equivalent?
Correct.
What have you saved for the owner?
True.
So that's a beautiful side of shipping. And if you love numbers, if you really want to make a mark in shipping, you can make a mark at any rank, at any position. Everything is equally important. But this is also an amazing part of shipping, you know.
What do you think about ICS? If somebody does ICS, like International, what is that? Institute of Chartered and Shipbrokers.
Yeah.
If any young mates or masters want to do mix or fix, is it going to help them becoming a commercial shipping guy, or what do you think?
So any knowledge is great, you know, no education goes wasted for sure. If somebody is wanting to do MICS, which is Member of Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers,
Correct.
They should most certainly do that. But with a clear caveat that to get a job just because you've done MICS, it's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. You need some focused approach if you want to get into commercial shippings. There is a lot of avenue now in India. Scorpio was one of the pioneers who opened a commercial desk. After that, we had Maersk, we had Tom, we had Trafigura, Navigate. They opened the commercial desks. There is a lot of commercial activity which happens from India. But I've seldom seen somebody who's done an MICS and says, "No, I have an MICS. Can I get a job?" That doesn't happen. And I think the safest way to be is that one thing that sailors should really realize that they have as an advantage is time. If you're doing 4 on 4 off, 6 on 6 off, that 6 off or 4 off at home is really you can maximize that time to your advantage.
Yeah.
I think all the budding chief officers, masters, even second officers who want to eventually step ashore should approach shipping companies, ask for internship. We've seen, in legal fraternity, for example, there is a clear legacy of keeping interns. People join as interns, they learn and they rise up the ranks.
True.
And I think shipping is no different. We everybody is obligated to pay back to the industry. And who doesn't want sharp candidates? I think the mark of a leader is not only think of their current role, but also think of the company, think of a good pool of talent that can be created for the company or for the industry.
Right.
And chief officers, captains, young captains, I think they are the best candidates. But then they need to come ashore with a clear objective that they want to learn. They want to learn first. And then they should approach through their network, through the shipping companies, or even cold call and say that I'm here 6 months, tell me what to do. I'll do that pro bono.
Yeah.
Don't pay me anything,
Yeah.
but I'm here to learn.
Yeah.
Don't think that you're a captain now and don't feel, I would say, shy to approach thinking that you're a high-ranking officer. No.
It's a very good point that you brought. I mean, this is something I heard first time somebody is talking, that in your free time, try to approach shipping companies and get internship, even if it is pro bono. At least you will learn something, and if you're really good, maybe they will offer you a job.
I mean, I've seen some great guys. I'm privileged to be working alongside them. They are my colleagues now, who were chief officer or captains with Scorpio. And when they would come for commercial briefing, some of them would just be, just completing the briefing as a part of the process of pre-joining. Some of them would really take interest. In fact, at Scorpio, we were the ones who insisted on commercial briefing, not just safety briefing. We said, no, we want captains 3 days commercial briefing. We'll tell you what it happens. How does the vessel fix? What is your obligation towards the owner?
Very interesting.
And some very bright chaps, chief officers, once they got the command, we gave them the offer. Do you want to join? And some of them are doing very well. They've moved at ranks, and they're very senior people in the industry.
So that's how you know Captain Trehan, is it?
Yeah. Captain Trehan was
Scorpio. Yeah.
Scorpio. He's a very good buddy of mine.
Yeah.
Very accomplished name. He's a great leader. I've learned a lot from him. He was my senior when I started to learn. I was a cadet, and he was like my captain in commercial shipping.
Okay.
I still remember, we were operating Handy Max vessels, which were running in Europe, but we were operating off India. So, which means that every day till 11:30 we had to stay awake and ensure that the vessels were running. And several times vessel will have cargo issues at midnight, post midnight. LOI nahi aa raha hai, cargo contaminate ho gaya. I was under his wings. While I would be the one who would be replying, at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, he would call me, Gaurav, how are you going to answer this? He would make me think. He would push me. I had some fantastic senior people I'd like to mention. Captain Trehan, of course, was one who was instrumental in teaching me. Captain Sanjay Kapoor, who I have the privilege of working till now. He's the CEO of the company that I am with. He was the ops manager, and then later on became the global head of operations for Scorpio.
Interesting.
Amazing talent. And that's where I realized that I think as ex-seafarers, we have that in us to become the right commercial talent or to take it to the next level. It's just a matter of being curious. It's just a matter of showing that initiative. And I think there is no reason why a company should deny such a good talent.
Very interesting. Okay, so let's come back to the question. Can you shed light on shore side opportunities in the maritime industry for the upcoming seafarers, mates, masters in digital operations, emissions, performance, or port disbursements? So,
yeah. The world has really opened up, and I'm so glad to see this time in my own lifetime. Also to just imagine and take a moment to see just one ship that you see on the horizon. The amount of functions that are required to support that ship or to support that voyage of a ship can be mind-boggling. Starting from crewing, then training, because somebody needs to train the crew. Then somebody is doing the documentation. Then there is a travel company which is arranging the travel. Then there is somebody who's arranging the ship chandling part of it. Then there is an agent. Then there is a technical team which is looking at the maintenance part of it. Then there is a marine side of it which is looking at the survey side of it. Then there is a commercial side of it. Within the commercial, there is commercial chartering, commercial brokers, commercial operations, port disbursements, payments, claims, demurrage claims, performance claims, lay time. Then there is legal, marine, That's the entire
Vast horizon.
that you're looking at. And then we've not touched the port side of it. When there's a pilots, there is boat, there are rope, there are launch services, line handling. Sky is the limit.
True.
There are various touch points where anybody, if they have any affinity, any curiosity, can find out more and be part of that.
Very interesting.
Right from shipbuilding, ship designing, and with AI, with so much of digitization that's happening, where now the internet services are pretty much available on every ship, it has opened even more.
True.
Even more. It's amazing to see there's so much of avenues. The only thing that makes people move ahead, and that's my mantra always been, is to remain curious as a child. Do not take things for granted just because that's the way that they've been served to you.
True.
There's a lot more. Ask the right questions. Ask the questions. Whenever you're going into any shipping company next time, when you're going for joining, ask more questions. What is it that I can do? And you'll be surprised.
Correct.
We've had some amazing people who've left at second mate level, and they've become industry leaders, right from bunker brokers to actual brokers. I have a batchmate, I'll not take the name, but he's head of Clarksons. He left at second mate level. And we were thinking, kya kar rahe ho yaar, command to le lo. That used to be the mantra, take command and then the world
Think
will
of
open for
something
you.
else, yeah.
I have my colleagues who've left at the right time. And trust me, it's a very poetic way to say, I will say it in Hindi if it's okay.
Please.
जो पुष्प होता है ना, उसकी खुशबू छुपी नहीं रह सकती. पुष्प को मधुमक्खी या भंवरे ढूंढ ही लेते हैं. If you have talent, that cannot remain hidden. You will find it. As a second mate, as mate, if this is what you want to do, take the first step. Ask the question. Don't think that somebody will knock your door and then say, hey, I have an opportunity. True. It happens. It happens only seldom.
True.
Yeah? You need to take the first step. I'll give you another analogy. I want to go from here, let's say I'm in Lucknow and I want to go to Mumbai. I have no idea. I have no idea how to go. But the first thing that I can do is pack my bags and get out on my gate.
Get out.
With my bag.
True.
I'm sure somebody will stop, will say, where do you want to go? Maybe an auto guy will stop. I'll say, I want to go to Mumbai. He'll say, I can't take you to Mumbai, but I for sure can take you to railway station. And when I'll go to railway station, somebody will say, even a coolie will say, boss, kahan jana hai? Mumbai jana hai, pata nahi. Ticket wahan milta hai. Which means, take the first step.
Take the first step.
Get in touch with the people that you know. Ask the questions. Study about it. Get in touch with the right people, mentors, the managers. And I'm sure we all, senior officers, I can very confidently say pretty much everybody, owe it back to the industry.
True.
We've come from there.
True.
We would want the next talent pool to be coming.
True.
We will guide you. We have people like Gaurav Arora who are making, endeavors to educate people, educate the industry.
True.
So there is so much of opportunity that is coming. And I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. The thing is, shipping has been one of the oldest careers in the world. That's what used to say, like sailing. 2,000, 3,000 years old, sailing.
True.
And it's going to be that still.
Forever.
You can download pretty much everything, but you can't download a cargo. You still need to bring it on ship.
Correct.
So ship is going to remain.
Correct.
Maybe the modules will change from containers. It will come to, maybe a small pellets or something like that. Maybe the fuel will change from general fuel oil. It will become maybe methane or LNG. But the ships are there. Ships are getting bigger, better, faster.
True.
You are the one who's probably looking at the biggest ships, 400 meters.
True.
Shipping is here to stay. As long as shipping is here to stay, all those jobs, maybe they'll get slightly changed in their scope because of the digitization, but they're here to stay. Nothing is being taken away by AI.
True.
Nothing.
True. Okay, Captain. Iran-Israel crisis. How is it going to impact the global trade, or is it really going to increase the freight rate, or what is going to happen?
Now the commercial manager in me speaks. And please, for all the viewers of yours, don't mind it. Generally, whensoever we've seen these geopolitical issues surface, we've seen commercial rates go up. You know, so how does shipping work? Shipping works on a metric called ton mile, which means the ships get paid for carrying certain tons. For example, a VLCC is carrying 300,000 tons, but is also getting to transport to certain miles. Now, if it was, let's say, I used to load from here, Basra Oil Terminal, Iraq, and going to Loop, US, Louisiana offshore oil port. Look at the miles that I'm covering via going Cape. Whensoever such issues surface, immediately the apprehension of the world starts to think, what is going to happen? Is any trade route going to stop? For example, Red Sea, when it was happening, a lot of ships were not calling Red Sea. They started to go from Cape, which means they're carrying the same tons but longer miles.
Miles increased.
Miles increased. Ships are being more utilized. So there's something called a utilization ratio. You know, in any fleet, it's like a dairy farm. You have 10 cows. Generally, we think that all 10 cows are giving milk, but that doesn't happen. You know, cows will lactate only when they've just had a calf, which means at any given time, only 6 cows give milk. 4 cows, they don't give milk. They are in the process of, maybe after 6 months, they'll give milk. So these 6 cows which are giving milk are also feeding
Other 4.
other 4.
Yeah.
And that's how happens in a shipping fleet. Not all vessels are all the time laden, right?
True.
The chartering team or the commercial team's endeavors are that the maximum number of times, maximum number of days, vessels should be utilized, they should be laden.
True.
And a very healthy ratio is generally more than 60-70% times they are laden, 30% times they are ballast. Now, you mentioned Shipping Corporation of India. It's a big fleet, right? So at any given time, let's say out of 50 vessel fleet, 20 are in ballast, 30 are laden. But when these things happen, you have almost like 40-45 ships laden, because they have not reached the destination. They are still taking the cargo.
Yeah.
The miles have increased, right? Or if the miles have not increased, a lot of these vessels get converted into storage tonnage. Because the world is still evaluating where the cargo will go, whether Europe is going to open, whether it's going to take Russian cargo, whether Iran is going to open, Iran not. And a lot of these traders, big traders, I'll not take the name, they have at any given time millions of tons of oil and other commodities at sea.
At sea.
It just stops.
Anchored. Or maybe just drifting.
Floating.
Yeah, off.
Because they want to see where should now be the best opportunity to sell this.
Interesting.
Right? And what they do is, even if the trade has not started, they will take more ships and start to load and then use them as storage. So, long story short, while my heart goes out with with all the people who are suffering because of these conflicts, but shipping in generally takes advantage of this, or takes advantage is the wrong word. Probably ends up doing better, because it creates
during
more
the global crisis.
During the global crisis, yeah.
Interesting. So the same thing happened with Red Sea when the Red Sea Houthis.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. I mean, you can. I urge all my listeners here to look at any of the shipping shares, and you will, and put it on a time scale. Look at how the world has evolved with all these conflicts, and you see every time there's been conflict, the shares have gone up.
Shares up.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, let me just continue the same question. Do you think this Iran-Israel conflict will end soon, or is it going to be same like Russia-Ukraine? What do you feel?
So to be very honest, I'm not an expert in global matters, and therefore it's only my personal opinion, and everybody has an opinion. I think it will get resolved soon, and I'm really hopeful, because wars are not good for anybody. Neither nowadays wars are, not skirmishes, looking at those missiles. It's a lot of money at stake. It's a lot of money that gets exhausted. It exhausts economies, exhausts countries.
True.
So I think it should, and it would end soon. So with the entire world probably pushing them to hopefully come to a conclusion, it should end soon. Yeah. But again, this is my personal view. You can, just hear it and leave it.
Captain, do you think that the companies prefer ex-seafarers in the operations or any job opportunities they have? Or
Yes.
would they or would they not?
Yes and no. It again depends. I've seen, for example, companies like Reliance, where I was working. Reliance had a very robust chartering team which was working out of Mumbai. Every 2 or 3 years, they would pick up somebody from Jamnagar, pilots, and they'll give them a chance to come and join the
Very interesting.
chartering team, because they knew that this guy would bring a flavor which is missing. While all the chartering people may be great in numbers and great in maths, but there is a touch of steel. There is a bit of salt in our hair and in our blood now, which no mathematician can bring.
True.
So, as ex-mariners, we bring something which others don't have. We know the trick how a vessel can fool you by showing less stowage, where we know when we've loaded ourselves, we can ask the right questions to the masters.
Yeah.
We can optimize the loading. We can ask the right questions to the agents. We can ask, if the vessel is fitted with bowser, why are we requiring additional tug?
Interesting.
And which those guys who are good at numbers, they may not know.
They may
So
not.
yes, we have some aces up our sleeve as ex-seafarers. We definitely stand a better chance. But then again, it depends how one presents himself or herself, and what's the opportunity.
Interesting. Okay, so Captain, what some skills you think that the young seafarers should have or should, start working on that can help them enhance their skills or career?
Yeah, for sure. I think there are few soft skills and few hard skills. I'll start with I think during my time, computer was coming new. So we were a little, out of the park when it came to putting our fingers on the keyboard. But I think basic skills of Excel, macros goes a long way. Nowadays people, when you run numbers and you can show your command over Excel and you can show that you're not afraid of computers, really goes a long way. That is one thing. The other is that communications. And I see in a lot of younger generation people, their communication skills have really shrunk because of the phones, because the way that we write, okay, yes, no. Through the usage of the right words in the right tone, you can really, put your message across.
Interesting.
And when you write emails, your emails become your ambassador. I may tell you something today and those words will get lost. But if I write a mail to you, that mail can get forwarded to 100 different people from you. And so communication skills. So these are some soft skills that I think will probably go a long way in helping anybody. But at the same time, I think the soonest that they start on learning the other side of shipping, if they want to step ashore, by doing these courses which are available either through Sea and Beyond or Maritime universities and are running courses, or Narsi Monji. It gives them a good perspective, And these courses one can do while still sailing, because those are distance learning. You can probably take admission, take the coursework with you, study. It arms with the right knowledge so that you can ask the right questions. Today, if I ask a second mate, no matter what the intent is, but he probably is limited in his mind and may not be able to ask the right questions. But once he or she has read about shipping more than just what second mate's curriculum is, then they are armed with the knowledge which makes them ask the right question. And I'd like to just add here, I think the time has changed when we were studying in schools, it was very template based. Teachers will say, "Chupchap padho, itna hi padho, pass ho jaoge, don't ask the question." The smartest guys would be who had all the answers, who will secure 98, 99%. But I think from there we've moved to the smartest guys are probably not the people who have all the right answers, but they definitely have the right questions.
Right questions.
So if you ask the right questions,
Very interesting.
I would give the right answers. It will also, shake something within me and say, what a fantastic question. I think he owes an answer. So it gives them knowledge. And knowledge is always, it empowers you to ask more.
True. Captain, how important is the domain knowledge like ship operations or chartering compared to managerial or tech skills for a seafarer planning to come ashore?
So the chartering or the commercial knowledge, honestly, can only be obtained once you're on the floor. No matter you do your MICS, you do any chartering course, you do any late time demurrage course, the learning on the floor is probably 10 times more, and it's not linear, it's exponential because you are facing life situations.
True.
So that is something that the books will give you only certain knowledge so that you can get a start. But the other tech related skills, I think they've pretty much become now a must tool, wherein majority of the work that you do is basis technology. And it will definitely help if the budding seafarers, they start honing the tech based skills already. Now, to talk on that, now I'll tell you, pretty much every company now is relying heavily on softwares, various softwares. And the softwares are also continuously developing to fulfill all the requirements, right from manning to even reading a CV. There are thousands of CVs that people get. Now nobody's reading the CV. We just put an engine which reads the CVs. Right from there till their wages, till the portage bill, till the time it culminates into their monthly wages which is coming. It's completely a string of technology.
True.
Yeah. Then on board, from the egg discs to the performance, everything, the chartco, everything is technology. And that gets supported from shore. Somebody who's actually a performance analyst or somebody who's a meteorologist who's supporting from here. Everything is technology. So technology before being and just a supporting tool has become the true enabler.
True.
And therefore, any knowledge of technology really, puts you ahead. I've had some fantastic colleagues who've been ex-masters, but they're so superior in technology that they're leading tech teams. At the moment, the organization that I work with has more than 100, 120 tech people. And they're all led by, of course, the great tech guys, but equally led by master mariners who have, developed their tech skills. Yeah.
Very interesting. Captain, very interesting question here. Imagine there's a 28 years old chief officer or chief engineer who wants to move ashore within 2 to 3 years. What would your advice be to him or her? 28 years old, maybe he's planning to get married, getting settled. What do you think?
So there are 2-3 things that I would give as an advice. Again, those are my personal experiences. One is, have a very clear objective what you want to do. Take your time, find out. Don't just jump into for the sake of getting into it. And I'll tell you why. Many people, for the sake of taking up a job, they take up a job and soon they realize that A, it doesn't pay as much as what they were getting as seafaring wages. B, it doesn't interest them. And C, because they still have their COC and CDC valid,
They can always go back.
they always go back. And therefore, please take time. Please take time to find out what exactly you would want to do. And B, which is very, very important, is that finding the right set of people to work with is, I think, the most important thing than finding the function that you want to work with. I've seen some great functions, but because the set of the people are not really great, the new guys have left very soon. And last, which is the most important, I think seafaring as a tradition where everybody knows everybody, loyalty plays a very, very big role. And therefore, unlike software companies where people change, assignments and companies and projects, I think out here loyalty plays a big role. One of a key ingredients of reaching to the top is remaining loyal. You may be a great person in your function, you may have the best of the skills, but if you change companies quickly, a time would come where they would start questioning your integrity. Why are you changing so frequent? Think of it. We are in Dubai at the moment, peak summers, right? Anybody who comes at the moment in Dubai probably is not going to like it. They say it's all dry, it's all very humid, it's all dust storms here, shamal and all that. But if I somehow convince that person to just wait for 4 months and let the winters come, let the season change, and then you will see a different side of Dubai. I think that's the belief that these newcomers have to take. When they have finalized that this is what I want to do, whether commercial, manning, tech, agency, whatever, just don't give up. For you to start, it's going to be not an easy task. Also because you've been part of, like you said, chief officer or captain, you've been part of the journey where you've reached the top. You suddenly will be made to feel that you're starting again. So that's like you're eating a humble pie. B, situations test you, people test you. They will test you whether you are really up for it, whether you will stick around or you will just put your cards and go back.
True.
If you stick around, trust me, just showing up every day for 1 year will do a lot good than just making up your mind and going back to ship. I mean, during our time, people used to say that if you want to stick ashore, burn your CDC.
That's something I wanted to ask.
Yeah. But I think people are wise now. People have a lot of choices. You don't have to burn your CDC. You must keep all your options open. But please stick around. Of course, the money may not be as good as seafaring or shipboard wages. In the beginning, it's never.
Yeah.
But people who've stuck around, they've made bigs. You've interviewed so many of them. All the leaders, they've all started very small.
True.
There's never beginnings are always small.
True.
But only people who've
stick around.
So stick around. It's like a marathon race. It's not a sprint where you just 200 meters and you come first. Marathon is a long race. You keep running, you keep walking, wobbling, but you will reach the end. So hold on.
Very interesting. Are there any common mistakes or myths you see among seafarers when they plan their transition ashore?
Yeah, I think it's to do from the previous question as well.
Yeah.
A lot of seafarers, they come ashore thinking that out here the promotions will be fast. And I'll tell you why. It's a misconception because we've seen cadets joining at 18, 19 and hopefully getting command by 30, 31. It's a matter of clocking sea time. It's like in army, a lot of promotions are time-based. If you've been a lieutenant for 2 years, you will become already a captain, something like that. But it doesn't happen here. It doesn't happen here. You really need to show your true caliber, your true commitment, and your true substance that you bring, the true value that you bring on the table. Which brings me to this very important facet, which is a continuous learning and continuous upskilling. Just because you've taken a shore job and you think that very soon, just by the virtue of you were a mate, you will be promoted, no. You need to really upskill yourself, and that upskilling needs to be continuous because the shape of shipping, shape of function is changing every 3 years because of digitization, because of new technology, because of new kind of vessels. What used to be a combustion engine first now, or what used to be an engine, a steam engine, suddenly came to gas oils. From there, it's coming to methane. Suddenly, we are talking of integrated bridge systems. We are talking of autonomous ships.
True.
So if you hold on to just say that this is what I know and this is what I will continue to do, it's a misconception. To maintain your presence, you need to upskill. To get promotion, you need to bring a lot of value on the table. You need to be better than the rest of them.
True.
And trust me, a lot of myths, a lot of misconceptions are that there is a lot of, because I know somebody, I'll get promoted. Or because that guy knew somebody in the management, he got promoted. Trust me, at the end, companies have to make money. Companies have this obligation to remain profitable because they have to make money for the shareholders, for the stakeholders.
True.
So only the best will survive.
True.
So be the best. Strive to be the best. Even if you're second best, that's all right. But That's a misconception that the promotions happen because I know somebody or because that guy knew somebody. It generally doesn't happen. And even if it happens, the guy will not survive. But if you are good, if you bring value on the table, it will get recognized and you will reach the top.
Also, very important question. You've spoken about the importance of working with the right people. How can youngsters assess whether they are in the right company or not?
Well, there is no a quick answer to that. What you can for sure find out who are the wrong people. Somebody who doesn't value your hard work, somebody who's competing with you, somebody who doesn't give the credit to you for the hard work that you have put in. That's not the right leader, or that's not the right manager that you should be working for. We work as a team where everybody puts equal effort, everybody puts their 100% as per their. And it's the duty of the manager to call that effort out, give that credit to those people. Manager probably has not done anything, but manager is just the face who's presented the solution, but it's the team. So if you are not getting the right credit, I think you're not with the right manager. But also, it needs to be very clear. Sometimes we think that we are bringing value, but in true essence, we are not. And therefore, we must ask. We must evaluate with them. Have I done this right? And if he says, yes, you've done right, then you could have asked, so why didn't I get the credit? So there is no easy answer. Generally, you work with teams, you find out a great bunch of people that you want to work all your life. I've had some teams where I was working. I was mentioning to you that I was working in Goa in shipbuilding.
We never
touched upon that. Great project. I was into shipbuilding. I was into casino shipbuilds. There were 2 casino ships. One of the biggest that I was working with, a company which is listed out of stock exchange in India. Only a gaming company which is listed. Delton, yeah. Delton. I was working with them, and the project was great, amazing experience, but not the right set of people that I would have liked to work. Also, I wouldn't take away from them. They're not shipping people. Okay. They are gaming people, so they do not know much about shipping, But again, I immediately saw the differences, and I said, this is not where I want to be. So
how was your experience with sorry to interrupt?
Yeah.
Shipbuilding of casinos. How was the experience, and how did it come to you?
So, Captain Rajat, I think previously I mentioned in one of the answers that networking, plays a big role. If you know the right people, and if they know the right caliber that is in you, they would recommend you. I got recommended by one of my Warwick MBA batchmates.
Interesting. Indian guy.
Okay. Who's my best buddy now. He's a hospitality guy who's moved into financial industry now. He recommended me that there's a job that is coming up, and would you be keen? I said, yeah, I'll be keen. And that's how I ended up over there. I took reins of casino operations over there, and soon I realized that they were getting 2 vessels from US. And then I made them from...
So you're saying that the Delton started with you?
Yes, the Delton started with me. I got it from the US, and I got it...
So sorry to interrupt. So these people were just in the initial phases of starting the casinos?
Correct.
And then you joined the company?
That's right.
And you brought the vessels from US?
That's right, yeah. One vessel I brought from the US, one we made in Goa.
Yeah. Which shipyard?
Vijay Marine.
Yeah.
Suraj, yeah.
Very interesting. So tell me one thing. Again, this is the question out of curiosity. Why are casinos legal in Goa only? Because if you see around India, there's only Goa is the place where you have casinos. Why not in Mumbai? Why not in any other port? Do you have the answer?
I may have the answer, but I think it has to do with the political resolve. You see, Goa thrives on tourism. And Goa has really done well in tourism. In fact, done too well, so much so that now it's become overcrowded and people are not wanting to go there anymore. But I'm talking of 10, 15 years before. The Goan government wanted a, a lot more than just beaches. Goa was known for beaches and cheap liquor, right? They wanted to promote hinterland. They wanted to promote the temples. They wanted to promote the backwaters, and they wanted to have something that people can come even in off season when it's monsoon season, right? Beaches are all shut. What do you do? People can't ride the scooties. So what do you do in off season? So government wanted to create that avenue, and Delton was one of the first to approach government and says this is something that we can do. It started with a casino called Casino Caravella.
Okay.
Caravella was a small boat, about I think 300 passengers odd, which secured the license to run casino. Government gave them the license to conduct the playing as long as it was not parked ashore.
On the shore.
Yeah, it was moving
I think that's also one of the reasons why the casinos are
around ship.
out at sea at anchor.
Correct,
Very
correct.
interesting.
So they said, boss, as long as it's not happening on land, it's not in our jurisdiction, we are happy. You just take a round, go for 5 hours, do whatever that you want to play, poker, whatever, come back, let people go off. So Caravella was a small boat. Delton came in big way. They bought Caravella. Then they made something which was called Casino Royale then, and which was then changed to Delton Jack. And then we got from US called Horseshoe. It was a beautiful vessel. We made it into Delton what it is now. It's one of the biggest ships over there. It was a project of a lifetime. It's a dream project for anybody to make, you know.
I'm sure.
From being a ship master with an MBA, and suddenly you're thrown into a project which is more than
Shipbuilding.
about close to about $100 million worth of project.
I'm sure.
We brought the ship. We discharged her. It was brought on a heavy lift. We discharged. So even
MPT.
Yeah. Okay. Even before that, when she was in, we were bringing it from Great Lakes. The lakes were frozen, and she had one sea chest which got burst, and then she started taking in water. Then we had to go and we had to shut the valves, and the emergency generator was switched on. Then she was put on a heavy lift. We brought her here in MPT. We towed her to Dabol
Okay.
in Ratnagiri. Now, that's the link because I had worked in Ratnagiri before, and I knew Bharti Shipyard. Let's bring it there, and that's where we brought. So it was a ship which was made purely as a recreational boat, but we had to convert her as per DG
Casino
shipping
requirements.
yeah. So then she underwent a major refitment, and that's where the challenge is. The shipping guy in you is only thinking of, you know, all the shipping A60 bulkheads and all that, but the gaming people are thinking of all the recreational and saying this is where we want the bar, this is where we want the stage, this is where we want. Can we drill a hole and bring the cable? I said no, you can't do that.
Correct.
But we want an elevator which will go, and it has to be magnificent. It has to make a statement. So it was the best thing that happened. The kind of project management I learned to make it end time, because if you know and if you recall from Goa, the river Manvi, it shuts because of the bar shuts just beginning of monsoon.
True.
So we had to place the boat inside the river before the bar shuts.
Yeah.
So we had to work backwards. At any given time, about 1,000 people were working. At any given time, so much of new bulkheads, new cladding, IRS, inclining experiment. The carpets would come from Chennai. There's a company called Brinton's. We will bring the sample. So we will start with the meetings every Saturday, 4 p.m. in Bombay at the chairman's office. It'll go till next morning, 1 p.m. So that we want to make decisions right now. I would go back. So every weekend I would fly to Mumbai to meet the chairman, go back. It was amazing journey. And only when the project was over, I realized that in day-to-day operations, there was very little that Marine had to play a part.
Right.
Apart from just the ACs running and the sewage tank is full or not.
Correct.
And all that. So I called it quits and I moved out.
Very interesting. Okay, so Captain Gaurav, why don't you tell us about your present company, present role, and how is it impacting the global trade or maritime world?
Sure.
Geoserve.
So, I'm working with a company called Geoserve. Now, Geoserve was born with a clear objective that we want to do something that supports commercial operations and commercial shipping. The founding members, which includes me, my boss, which is Captain Sanjay Kapoor, and a few other guys, we had operated commercial operated ships for several years ourselves, and we knew there were very clear pain points which the shipping industry was reeling with. There was a lot of efficiency that is getting drained. There was so much of data that was coming from mails, from information. Everything was situational. It's like I am running 10 ships. Which ship should I attend first? Suddenly, one ship will send message, I have reached, can I start the cargo? Then I say, okay, let's look at the LOI. Then suddenly one ship will, you'll get a mail, running out of bunkers. Then you leave the LOI and say, boss, I need to get bunkers for us. Suddenly one will say, I have contamination on board. So everything was situational.
True.
You can run vessels like this only with a certain level of efficiency, but it can become too taxing. It surely is not the right way to do it. And therefore, we thought that this can be done in a better way. So we developed a lot of processes. We experimented with a lot of algorithms in terms of performance monitoring. At the end, the objective was to bring a clear, tangible value for the ship owner or a principal. There is so much value that gets lost. Talk of performance. Let's say if somebody has 100 ships, a fleet is 100 ships. If I made this calculation, and I could be wrong, when the bunker was a peak of $600 to $700 per ton, if you could save quarter ton per ship for that fleet per day, you're looking at saving about $6 to $7 million annually.
Very interesting.
But that requires a commercial mind. That requires somebody to see that, look, there's a value that is getting lost. If a port, I'm repeating this as an example, but it's very pertinent and important here. If a port is saying that you will have a small handy-sized ship, 2 tugs in, 2 tugs out, but if she's got an operational bow thruster, but you are not questioning, why should I have 2 tugs in when I have a working bow thruster? Let me go inside with 1 tug, and once I'm laden, then 2 tugs out. And you have not asked the question, and tug has charged $10,000. So now, how do you tap that? Similarly, for the bunkers. People generally go in shipping with cheapest bunkers. As long as I get my specs of bunkers, cheapest, filler.
True.
But who is checking that there are 4 different ports during the way, that if you had bunkered here, you could have got a better rate, or you could have got better specs, or even a better calorific value. For the same kind of bunker, you could have got better run for the mile, right? So that's where we started to think. And then this company was erected in 2019.
Okay.
It started with a fuel desk out of Dubai. And then slowly we started to bring performance and optimization as part of the portfolio. The last one to join was port disbursement and payment solutions.
Yeah, I was about to come to that. That's
Yeah.
also very interesting. So
Yeah. But now the beauty is, now just like a caterpillar metamorphoses into a butterfly, we have changed from what we were to what we are now. But the objective still remains the same. Bring tangible value to a principal. Now, I mentioned earlier, I think we have more than 100 tech people with us. We've become like a software company.
True.
But ours is still a people's company which uses tech to its advantage. We use all the best of the technology, state of the art, including all the AI engines now, but it's still a people's business. We would like to save money for a principal on every aspect of that voyage, a commercial voyage, right from the time it is pre-fixture. Pre-fixture is when they are trying to find the suitability of the vessel.
True.
Till the time she's loaded the cargo and she's gone and discharged the cargo and collected freight. We do pretty much everything end to end.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and we are very proud that we've got a lot of support from the market, from the industry. We have some very esteemed clients, big names, oil majors. and we've got very good support. At the moment, we have about 100 and not 100, my apologies, about 1,400 vessels.
1,400 vessels.
Yeah, that we serve at the moment, and it's only counting, and it's
Wow.
increasing.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So basically, your system is for ship owners or the principals to increase the efficiency in the company.
We help in optimizing the way that the
Correct.
operations are conducted
Correct.
and maximize the revenue.
Maximize the revenue.
Yeah.
Very interesting. You heard about this, the frontline ship collided recently in
Corfacan.
Corfacan, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
Well, I read the news, and there was something that was mentioned was GPS,
GPS
spoofing.
yeah.
You know, it took me back to my sailing days, and I was wondering, the frontline vessels, they're those VLCCs.
Really big, yeah, really big, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, where is the basic seamanship gone? Why are we even looking at GPS? Where is the call regs gone? Where is
Radar.
the radars and the sight, navigation by sight? What happened to all that? It could have been easily preventable. I mean, when we were sailing, we didn't have egg disc. I've never sailed on egg disc. We took pride in the way that we conducted our navigation. It was pretty much according to the call regs. So while I don't want to comment on, it's very unfortunate that accident had happened. But there's so much of reliance on technology that people forgot the basic seamanship and the call regs.
True.
Yeah, that is something that came to my mind.
True.
And that too in such port waters, which is, it's not like open seas. When you are entering a port, or when you're close to Kofakan, you are anyway on maneuvering speed, you are anyway at reduced speed, you have more engines ready, and you're ready to maneuver. And still that happened. I do not know where the fault lies.
Captain, there's a lot of green shipping thing going on. What do you think about this alternate fuel or carbon emission? What are your point of view?
Well, I think shipping has traditionally been one of the conservative industries, I would say, or traditionally has been slow in embracing new things, even technology, for example. We got GPS much later when, all the planes were already flying with GPS and DGPS.
True.
We were working with the telexes where, the rest of the world was still working on emails. So all that started to slowly come.
Yeah.
And same as with this, the green shipping and the emissions. It is already very much in place for pretty much all industries. Airline, every time we buy a air ticket, we know how much CO2 this seat would generate. So it's all for the right reasons. I think shipping at least is making an effort, although shipping constitutes very less in percentage terms to the entire greenhouse gases, which really plagues this earth. But still, we have to do what we can do. The only thing is, we run an emissions desk, and I think there are more capable people in my desk who can tell you that. I'm not the one.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of confusion people have how this emission works and whether it's actually having the right results or not. And I'll pick probably, there's something called EU ETS. Wherein vessels which are making a voyage from outside Europe to Europe, and if they're not on alternate or green fuels, then there is a penalty to that. Yeah, they have to make a penalty. There is a confusion between who's going to pay the penalty. Operations says that you have to pay. Charterers say that owner has to pay. So all that gets sorted over time. It has already got sorted. But there is a penalty now that the vessel has to pay for calling Europe, for using gas, for using, let's say, fuel oil. Okay. Now think of it. When a penalty is levied on a ship, the owner is not going to take on him. Eventually, somehow it gets reflected in the freight.
True.
Yeah.
True.
When it gets reflected in the freight, which means the commodity which reached Europe just now has suddenly become expensive.
True.
Now the vessel is not using green fuel or alternative fuel. It goes into, let's say, Belgian port in River Scheldt, Ghent, or whatever. It pollutes,
Pays
pays the
fine.
penalty.
Yeah.
People buy expensive stuff because suddenly there is a higher freight. So, which means they are paying now higher money for what the consumables are and still breathing polluted air.
Polluted air.
It hasn't changed. Hasn't
Interesting.
changed. While the endeavors are, all this money is going into R&D, into looking into how these emissions can further be curtailed. But at the moment, there is no real benefit.
True.
It's only a uh, commercial impact, which eventually gets passed on to the end user.
Very
But it's quite complicated and it's continuously changing. Also, a lot of jurisdictions are in play. Very soon, we will have China also jumping in. They will also bring in their side of similar to EU EDS vessels calling China. They will also pay. So eventually, I mean, when the entire world jumps into, it's just the right call. We have to look into it. It's for the right reason. It just requires little simplification.
True.
Yeah.
True. Interesting. All right, Captain. Looking back, is there anything you would have done differently in your career journey?
To be very honest, I've lived every moment the way that I could, and I would live it again. There's not much that I would have done differently, except that I could have had paid more attention, being more aware of my surroundings, being more aware of the trends in shipping, ask the right questions, which I didn't. Sometimes I think our upbringing, our DNA, our way of bringing becomes a hindrance. I come from Lucknow.
Why do you say that?
I come from Lucknow.
Okay.
Where there is a lot of respect that is given to others, where you call everybody with a lot of respect, even though the person may be younger to you in age, or maybe a younger, or maybe a junior to you in position. What happens is that with all these kind of restrictions, where you are always apprehensive and very cautious of addressing people. Somebody comes in, you get up. Sometimes you're afraid of asking questions. If I ask question, what is going to think? I see youngsters who don't call you sir, they call you by their first name, but they ask the right question. For example, if in my organizations, I have some great colleagues, working with me, and very young, and I tell them, why don't you do like this? We should do like this. They think, but Gaurav, why should we do like this? If we do like this, don't you think that this can be impact or that can be impact? In my journey when I was growing up, I would never cross question. I would never cross question. Not that I thought that I would be judged or I would be shushed away. Why are you asking this question? But probably that is how my upbringing is. बस जितना बोला चुपचाप करो.
Right.
Right. And उन्होंने कुछ सोच के ही बोला होगा आपको.
Right.
I think I would change that.
Okay.
I would change that. I would ask question again with the right words, right tone, so that we together as a team find the best solution, and not just do just because I've been told to do.
Interesting.
I want to be more aware of what I'm doing. And this is what I would ask all the youngsters also. You may be today, caught in a job which requires you to do very mundane tasks. So data entry, बस करो और निकलो घर जाओ, खत्म करो, इतना assignment है, ये सारा का सारा data इसमें भर दो. Ask this question. So why am I filling this data? Where is this data going to be used? For all you know, this data is going to be used for something very important that the company is going to make decision.
Right.
And then you feel more motivated. Then you feel part of this journey which company is taking.
Very interesting.
Otherwise, you just, just a man sitting in a corner just doing his job and just going home. Ask questions. And I'm sure people will give you their answers. And those answers will surprise you that you never knew that your piece of work is so important, is so critical.
When you talk about ask right questions, every time when you say that, I think of ChatGPT. You know why? You have everything in ChatGPT if you have the right question. You can ask the right question to ChatGPT and you get all the right answers. What do you think?
Yes and no. It's to the human mind what questions they're asking. The biggest computer is human mind. The best camera is human eye. The moment I see and my eyes focus there, I don't have to adjust the focal length. And same as with my mind. There are at any given time 500 things that I'm processing. I'm processing this light. I'm processing this humming noise that is coming. I'm processing the question. ChatGPT cannot replace the human mind. For sure, it cannot replace the experience that people have had. It can probably, to a large degree, give you the right academic answers. But it will not give you the answers in a situation how you would conduct yourself.
True, true. No, I was only talking from the prompt point of view.
You're right. It is an amazing tool, but I see a downside to it. People have started using it so much so
That's bad. That's bad.
that probably they are not putting their creative hat on.
True.
And it's our minds are not getting used. So
I think this is the next level of dopamine release after the social media. See, social media anyway has brought down your level of dopamine, which you used to get, let's say, after working out or after achieving something big. Now that dopamine is released in parts when you scroll through the reels, right? And the next thing is AI, where you can ask question, you feel, wow, I got this answer. Or maybe if you're writing an essay, you can just ask ChatGPT and copy paste. So this is bad.
It's bad.
This is bad.
But like you said, and I'll probably correct myself, if you ask the right questions, sky is the limit. What ChatGPT or AI can do for you at the moment, at least at peripheral level, not in deep, because deep requires experience.
True.
But peripheral level, the problem is that people are asking very trivial questions. If you want to change the world, I think we are living in golden era. In Hindi में बोलते हैं राम राज्य. ये राम राज्य है. Where the knowledge is free.
Knowledge is free. True.
You don't need to go to Harvard now to understand some engineering. Where the engineering is available either on some website or ChatGPT or on YouTube.
True.
But the problem is the student motivated enough to study that, or he'll start, or maybe he'll open a reel and get.
Correct.
So now there are best of the university courses which are available free. It's for one to pick it up, study, make the best use of it.
Very interesting. So, Captain, what excites you about the future of maritime industry, especially for the next generation?
Well, I'm watching this space very closely because not only I'm here working in shipping industry, but also how the technology is changing everything. We're talking of autonomous ships. We're talking already of a lot of shipboard jobs being conducted from shore.
Yeah.
Because the moment you have Starlink and a fantastic bandwidth available on ship, a lot of work probably can be conducted right from here.
True.
So it's just that the jobs will not diminish. The jobs will probably change. They'll change from shipboard to more shore-based, and there are a lot of new avenues that will open up. Probably in 10 years, so many new avenues come up that I can't even envision, I can't even imagine. I mean, 10 years before, we had only heard of drones. Now, drones are doing close-up examinations of vessels' tanks inside, right? You don't need people to go inside and do close-up examinations or x-rays because it's conducted by drone, which means somebody who could climb down now becomes a drone operator.
True.
So the job has only shifted and it's become more safe, right? And that's how I see a lot of transformation happening because of technology. There are a lot of minds which are working in pretty much any industry, also shipping, where a lot of remote working would be done, a lot of sensor-based work would be done, which brings us back to that, where technological skills really are
Very
now
important.
a must.
Very
If people have understanding of reading of data, collating of data, understanding what data is, how to draw trends, understanding that, I think that's what shipping is going to be also as.
Very interesting. Okay, lastly, what message would you leave for young seafarers trying to find meaning in their careers, especially in these uncertain global times?
Two things. Firstly, remain confident. many a times we come in such situations where you start to doubt ourselves. Don't doubt yourself. There is always a way. There will always be a way. There would people who will show you the way. So remain confident. Don't lose confidence. Second, again, I've mentioned before, but remain curious. It is your curiosity now which will open different portals of knowledge, wisdom for you. You don't ask. People nowadays do not have time from day to day. They are under no obligation to call you and give you some gyan or wisdom. Remain curious as a child. Don't think that you have achieved something that by becoming second mate, chief officer, or even captain. Think of it. You start your career at 18 or 19 as a cadet. You become captain by the age of 31, 32, some of them at 30. So in 12, 13, 14 years, from start to the epitome of the career, you've already achieved. Now you think of retirement age at 60 or even 65 now. You can actually start and take epitome or reach to the epitome 3 or 4 such careers. So never think that you are too old to start something new. Never think that you're too old to ask the right questions and study something new. Keep studying, keep learning, because the world is changing and you need to be in sync with the world.
True.
Keep learning, remain curious, and remain confident.
Very interesting. Captain Gaurav, amazing. Guys, just to tell you, I did my job today till 2100. And since I, told Captain Gaurav that we will do the podcast today, it's 1 o'clock now.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m. in the morning.
1 a.m. in the morning. And Captain Gaurav has a flight within 12 hours. In 12 hours, right?
12 hours, yeah.
So he has to go rest. I am also like completely tired now. But thank you so much for joining today. And Captain Gaurav, again, thank you so much for being here. And guys, see, Captain Gaurav has decided that he wanted to shift ashore. He planned to do MBA, even though it meant for him to sell a home, a house, to arrange the fees for the MBA. He did it because he has planned to do it. Though he had to struggle initially after doing MBA, but he made it big. Sir, thank you so much once again. Really appreciate, and I have no words to thank you.
No, Captain Rajat, thank you so much for having me here. And like I said, that amidst all that I've done, I think this is one of the highlights to feature on your podcast, and it's truly special for me as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.